the business of not making weight but being able to pay. I mean, it almost seems it's just almost cheating because, yeah, I mean, you're right. You know, they could give him the best match. What would be the best matchup for him? You know, what was the best matchup for Poetan when he came in? Give him a striker that nobody, it's not gonna wrestle him, you know.
Ja, ich habe einen ganz besonderen Gast hier zum Interview in Berlin im Spitfire. Es ist niemand anderes als Captain America's himself, Eric Abarasin. Eric, thanks for your time. But
Thank you for having me.
You're the coach and the manager of multiple world champions in UFC, PFL, Bellator, Ryzen. Did I miss something?
And we got fighters in LFA.
Yeah.
You know.
But what are you doing here in Germany?
Well, you know what? I was actually, and I'm not a manager, I'm a captain. It's a difference.
All right.
But, you know, I was at the UFC Paris. Patricio Pitbull accepted a fight 2 weeks after his last fight against Danny when he got his first win in the UFC. And they gave him a fight against a killer, a Black Panther from Belgium, Keita, Luceni, and the problem was he didn't make weight. So, you know, he's a world champ at 155 pounds. And as a coach, as soon as they told me who he's fighting, I never heard of him. I know he's famous in the European.
Yeah.
We're here, but not, at least not in Brazil, not in America. But I looked at his topology, his shirt on, and all of his fights were at 155. So it's like, I said, dude, you better make sure that they have a backup. This fight goes down in 3 weeks. You better have a backup because that guy hasn't made weight in a long time at 145. I was like, that's a big jump for somebody I've seen very hard to do. So I put that out there. I did interviews saying I think we're going to need a backup. I don't think this guy's going to make weight. And unfortunately, he didn't. His managers confirmed that he would make weight. He would make weight. And then he didn't make weight. Matter of fact, he was almost 5 pounds over. You know, Patricio weighed 145. Championship weight in Keita was 149. But even on the scale, the weigh-in scale and the ceremonial, and the test scale and the real scale had a 1 pound difference. So even though he's 149, he's really 150. So this guy is at a whole nother weight class, you know, and he had too many advantages, you know. We're in Europe. He lives right across the border. You know, he's young, he's fast, he's explosive, doesn't have a lot of damage, his body's renewed. Now you're going to give him the advantage of not making weight, the advantage of, hey, why don't me and you fight tomorrow, but let's do a marathon, 26-mile marathon before the fight. You want to do it? Let's do it. And then I only run 2 miles and you run 26. And then you think it's a fair fight? It's not.
Yeah, I think nobody saw this as a fair fight in the end. But seems like you expected him to miss weight.
We expected him not to miss weight. I expected him to probably have problems making weight. But what we didn't expect, and what Patricio didn't expect, is he showed up at 9 o'clock a.m., got on the scale, and he started eating. And he had 3 more hours to cut weight. So he just gave it up. It was like, I'll just pay the 20%. No. You don't get it like that. You have to make weight. You got to make weight. Patricio is a professional. He's the ultimate professional. Does everything right. And he made weight. And he's made weight for 10 years at 145 pounds. So that's what disappointed Patricio. Said, you're not going to go upstairs and lose the weight. I'm not going to fight you. Mm-hmm. But he did say, if you made that weight, I would have fought you.
So I think he said he offered his whole purse, but that wasn't the point at all in the end.
He offered his own purse because it's not about, that's why he's willing to give up 20%. He's willing to give up 100%. Well, he should have been willing to make the weight. Then that doesn't become an issue. If I have an out and someone tells me, well, you don't got to make weight, just give money. Sure, you can have all the money I have. Because I'm going to make it back once I win.
Yeah. And afterwards, there were rumors the UFC cut him straight away because he missed weight. In the end, the rumors weren't true. But could you understand an organization cut a fighter like that, which they're looking forward to for many, many months? So it was rumored losing Keita going to the UFC about a year ago already, and he stuck to Octagon. He became there the 155 champion. But could you understand if, giving him Patricio as a high-level opponent, which is like entering a pool of high-level fighters, if he would have won, that the UFC is disappointed, is angry with losing Keita too, and say, you had your chance, that's it, bye-bye.
Well, the business of not making weight but being able to pay, I mean, it almost seems, it's just almost cheating, because what happens when they don't make weight? They say, well, the doctors won't let me. Well, guess what? Why won't the doctors let you? Because they came in and tested your blood and tested your heart rate, tested your blood pressure. And guess what? You can barely stand, you feel dizzy. Your heart rate's through the roof because you're in a 180 degree sauna or 107 degree bathtub, and you're burning up. You haven't eaten in 2 days. You haven't drank in 2 days. And all that stuff's going on. Every fighter goes through it. Patricio was going through it till midnight. And then we woke up at 6 a.m. and did it again. And he made weight. But if a doctor was to come in and test his blood pressure, test all that, he wouldn't let him fight. He'd be like, you haven't eaten in 2 days? Your blood pressure's low. You're going to pass out. So every fighter goes through that. He chose to not go through it and said, I could just pay. And that culture, maybe not him, but that's what the culture is. I can pay and not make weight. And then 90% of people that don't make weight win.
Yeah, that's right.
So it makes sense. Statistically, I'm just not going to make weight. And that's how he treated it, in my opinion.
So you felt disrespected as a team?
I did. Patricio did.
Yeah. But for you, it was a business case, or how would you describe it?
For me, I was just in a fight 3 weeks earlier. Felipe Bunes fought an undefeated guy in the UFC. Pitbull was in the corner with me. We didn't have to take the fight. The guy was 4 pounds over as well. He took the fight and he lost. And he had him in a very good chokehold for 2 minutes, and the guy was choking, gargling, but he survived. But had he went through that hell of losing those last 4 pounds, which is like running a marathon, if he ran that marathon and if he lost that 4 pounds, he doesn't survive that choke.
Yeah. So you saw firsthand what could happen. We see
firsthand exactly what's going to happen. Experience. I remember Keita saying, Patricio said to him, you said in the interview, you're stronger, you're faster, you're younger. Now you want to be heavier too? And Keita said, but your experience. He goes, where's my advantages? He goes, your experience. Yes. And you know what you do with experience? You learn from it. And experience says you shouldn't accept this fight because you're getting all the advantage. You didn't run the marathon. I'm sorry. You took the shortcut.
Yeah.
You have 10 times more energy than I do. You're going to recover better. How much advantage do you need? You're already 12 years younger than him.
Yeah, that's totally understandable. In the end, does that lead for you and Patricio to a better position negotiating with the UFC, saying, okay, we want to go to Brazil, And we have that in that sport. How does negotiating with the UFC work in the end? You're in the business for some.
Well, I think that this fight should be a wash. Keita should go to 70, 155. He should not be at 145. He should be at 70. That's obvious. Patricio should be moving up. He's ranked 11th, 10th in the nation. He'll fight any one of those guys. Set him up with an Emmett. Set him up with Arnold Allen. Set him up with Jose Aldo. If Jose Aldo was to come back, the King of Rio. Imagine that. The King of Rio in Rio against Patricio Pitbull, two legends of Brazil.
Never had the chance to meet each other.
They never had that weight. I mean, it could be him. It could be Arnold Allen. It could be Mofsar, Evolaev. You know, he wanted Pico, but then Pico lost. Yeah. So, you know, any one of those top 10, Patricio's ready. He's got $1 million bet with Volkanovski that we want to cash that check. So, you know, Volkanovski was talking about Pitbull to Israel Adesanya, saying that he's not even close. He's pretty damn close, you know. I mean, he's not in Bellator no more, so we're in the same organization, you know.
Yeah, could end up in a
fight. I think he's 1 or 2 away from fighting for the belt.
Yeah.
With the right matchups, you know, it's up to these guys. You know, the thing is, like, the UFC doesn't know Patricio like I do or the Bellator people do. Like, they haven't gotten to know him yet. When you get to know Patricio Pitbull, you know he's a champion amongst champions, a leader amongst leaders. You can't treat him like he's a normal fighter. He is not a normal fighter. He is different than every other fighter that I've met. And I've coached a lot of fighters. I've coached a lot of world champions. Patricio is different from a discipline point of view, dedication point of view, fight IQ point of view, and just big energy point of view. And I would love for Hunter and Dana White and, you know, the matchmakers to really sit down and meet with him, and so they would know the kind of person that they're dealing with. This is, you know, a legend amongst legends. You could put him in a room and he would stand out amongst every legend. I was in a room like that. I was in the room with Bellator and O'Hara. On that team, we had Anderson Silva. We had Junior Dos Santos, Fei Zhao, Fabio Maldonado, Bigfoot Silva. We had all these guys on our team. This is like 2011, 2014, Team Nogueira in Rio, Brazil. And I remember doing an interview. This was at least 12, 13 years ago. And it was with Combate in Brazil. And they asked me, who's the most talented guy on the team? Or who's got maybe the potential to do something great? And amongst all those guys that I had mentioned, all those world champions and legends, I said Patricio Pitbull. And they said, who? I said, Patricio Pitbull. I'm like, they didn't know who he was at the time. I said, mark my words, you'll see. They're like, above all those other legends? I said, yes. Because I see the hunger in him. I see that he's different. And that's kind of like, you could see that once you meet him. But if you never meet him, you're going to think, maybe Bellator is not the A-League, and you're going to think less of him.
Yeah.
But no, this is the ultimate professional.
But speaking quite frankly, why do you think he struggled in his first fight at the UFC?
Well, you know, it's not the UFC's wanting these guys to lose. Patchy Mace lost there, Pico lost, Patricio lost. It's that they're giving them fights that nobody else wants. So nobody wanted to fight Pitbull. Nobody wants to fight Yair. Nobody wants to fight Mario Batista. Nobody wants to fight Patchy Mix. Nobody wants to fight Aaron Pico. Nobody wants to fight Leron Murphy. Why? Because those guys are tough matches for anybody. And neither of them have real names other than Yair. And Patricio does have a name worldwide. But what happens is nobody will choose him, nobody will fight him, and they outfight anybody. Yair says I'll fight anybody, Patricio, let's go. Patchy Mix, nobody wants to fight Barry or Batista. Patchy Mix was 35 pounds over, hadn't fought in 2 years. Patricio Pitbull had 2 fights in 2 years. There's no rhythm there, and they're getting short notice fights against killers that nobody wants to fight. And that's kind of what's happening. So, he went in there, it was calculated between him and Yair. And if you ever saw when MVP fought, he was a Bellator fighter. He won, he did well. But when he won, they were like, man, we'd love to see him fight Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And what did they both say? We don't want that because we know too much. We're too much counter-struckers. We have too much fight IQ. It's going to be a boring fight because none of us are going to want to make a mistake. And that's kind of what Patricio and Yair was. 2 counter-strikers, and neither one wanted to make the mistake. And Patricio went in a little bit too calm, hadn't fought in a year and a half, and he's used to fighting 5 rounds, where the fighter has to come to him because he's the champion. So he just didn't do enough. He didn't get after it enough. Mm-hmm. And Yair did well. Yair had better timing, had better rhythm. Patricio had no rhythm. He hadn't fought in a year and a half.
Mm-hmm. But it sounds like the UFC is influencing heavily the career path of fighters who are not that marketable, and influence in the other way the guys who are marketable. So does it seem like that way? Is it that way? So giving opponents difficult to promote, hard matchups.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. They could give him the best match. What would be the best matchup for him? What was the best matchup for Poatan when he came in? Give him a striker that it's not going to wrestle him, Who's Conor McGregor? No wrestlers on the way up. So, they could give him easy fights, but they can give him hard ones. And he fell on the side of getting hard fights.
Mm-hmm. But in the end, of course, if you want to go to the top, you will have hard fights. You will have tough opponents, good opponents. Where do you see Patricio Pitbull in the next 2 years?
Well, Pitbull, if we can get a big fight underneath his belt and a big win, I'd like for him and Volkanovski, 2 legends of the game. They're both 36 plus years old. And I think that fight needs to happen because they've had $1 million bet since 2020. Mm-hmm. He tweeted it, and Volkanovski answered. So, and then him and Israel were talking about it. Volkanovski was talking about it with Israel just a couple weeks ago. So that bet is still outstanding. So I'd love to see that happen.
And you were working as a coach, working as a captain, as you said. Which part is the harder thing to do for you? Which part is more fun for you to do? We started with this one.
I mean, to be a captain or a coach, you gotta be passionate about the game of MMA and wrestling. For me, as wrestling, how to connect wrestling with the striker, how to connect it to the jiu-jitsu. Meld it all together. But some of the other stuff is interesting, creating personalities and storylines and breaking down fights and immigration, learning other languages, traveling, making connections, recruiting the training partners.
So
you gotta
love
it. You gotta love it all. You gotta love it all. You don't do it.
And which does give you
some
more
of it's harder, man. They all have their. People don't like wrestling; it's too hard. People don't want to promote because they're humble. They don't want to speak up because they're humble. So you're always fighting against something.
Mm-hmm. But there are moments where one or the other gives you a headache, right? Even the case with with losing Keita, for you was a business part, but in the end you seem a little bit angry too. So if a fight falls apart for you,
a little bit angry, more so because I was calling it out 3 weeks earlier. The first thing I said was, you better make sure he's got a backup, because that guy fights 155. Now you're telling me he's going to debut at 45? He's never made 45. So I told him to tell their manager, I told him to tell the UFC, you should find out. Make sure you guys got a backup. But I didn't know they had the same manager. So I told Patricio, hey, make sure. So he made sure with the manager. The manager said, yes, he promises he's going to make weight.
Mm-hmm. So, but in the end for you, as long as you're in the business, was that a memorable weight miss or a memorable story behind this weight miss, or did you experience a bit worse?
Yeah, I mean, we just experienced it 3 weeks earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
we lost a big fight.
Mm-hmm.
And he fought a guy that was 4 pounds over. And now our guy might get cut too. So it's like, dude, what's the benefit of taking this price? To get 20% of your money? So my legend goes down the drain because you didn't run the marathon? Because you didn't go to hell? You didn't take the necessary steps to ensure that you, as a professional, make weight?
Mm-hmm.
In the Olympics, your point went over, it's over. You're not going to compete in the Olympics. Point one. There's no catch weights. There's no paying 20%. That's the sport that we come from. Patricio Pitbull has been making 145 for 10 years. Now you think you're going to fight him at 150? When we were telling him he better make weight. He better make weight. We're not taking this fight. I have interviews where I said that. I have interviews with Portal Vale Tudo. I have interviews with Keita Press.
Yeah.
I have interviews saying that we're not taking this fight if he doesn't make weight.
Mm-hmm. But in the end, if somebody is going to get cut from the UFC, does a manager, in your case the captain, has any power to avoid that, or is the organization as big as possible? And
well, they have their own manager. They have the same manager. I mean, what excuse can you give? The UFC needs to change the culture.
mm-hmm.
You don't make weight, you get cut. You do that a couple times. Brian Battle just got cut. I don't know if Keita got cut or not, but a couple people get cut one right after another.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody starts making weight. The whole culture will change in the UFC if they make those cuts.
Or choose a better fitting weight class, right?
Yeah. It's more, if you don't make the weight, you get cut, that's it. This fight's over.
Yeah.
You're cut. Can't reward them. Can't let them get out by paying money. Are you kidding me? I'll give you my left arm if you tell me I don't have to make weight. Making weight is hell, the hardest thing you can ever do in your life. It is hard. And for everybody to say it's only 2-3 pounds, what? I've seen a girl go from 9 p.m. till 9 a.m. in the morning to lose 2 pounds. Non-stop. 0.1 kilos an hour. In the sauna, burning up. Can't walk, can't speak, losing hearing. I've seen people go into seizures and come back and fight the next day and win and make weight. They don't want, well, you don't got to go through that. Just pay 20% and you can be fat and happy and then go win the win bonus. Then you get the 20% back.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So there's no consequences for not missing weight.
Yeah. Sure.
If anything, it's more in your favor. You're going to make more money.
Yeah, it's like the system is a little bit cracked in that way because somehow the UFC fighters who start there, they don't earn that much, right? So probably they will try everything to make weight, not to give up some of their purse. But if someone a little bit more established starts, like losing Keita, who he made good money at OKTAGON, the organization he was before, so money wasn't a thing. That's why
he Keita is a killer, man. That dude's he's too much of a killer to take lightly.
Yeah, sure.
He wasn't light. He was heavy.
Yeah, sure. But in the end, that's why he could easily offer the whole purse. It was more about his start in the UFC to have success there and not fall through.
But the fact that the UFC or Lucien or whoever was offering more money, they don't know Patricio Pitbull. That's what I'm saying. They don't know him. Mm-hmm. You would never make that offer to Pitbull if you knew him.
Yeah.
Pitbull don't want, you're debuting, you don't want whatever 20% of your purse is. Mm-hmm. He wants legacy. He's here to fight for the world title. He's here for the UFC world title belt at featherweight. He's here to make history. He don't give a crap about 20% of your debuting contract, your first contract in the UFC. So that just, for anybody to bring it up, that means they don't know who Pitbull is.
Yeah.
They don't really know him like we do.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really, really nice to get some insights on that from your point of view. Then my final question would be, and it's a little bit obvious, right? When did you start to put on the glasses?
The Ultimate Fighter Brazil is when it started. I was wearing the glasses. Started on that show, and we had a guy that got stitches right before the fight, first week. And I was like, man, they all live in the same house. How do we distract the guy to not see the stitches? I said, wait a minute, I got a pair of glasses with the skull in the middle. Mm-hmm. They'll look at the skull, they won't look at the stitches. I was like, I'm gonna get them for you. And I got them for my fighter and won. And then the glasses came part of the show. People were making fun of them. So I left them in the gym one day. They kidnapped my glasses and they put some candles around them and made like a voodoo ceremony. They gave a curse on my glasses. And then they had my glasses from me, and for 4 weeks we lost 4 fights in a row. And then I got the glasses back and we started winning again. It had nothing to do with the glasses, but it became part of the show. All right. So then after the show, it was on Globo TV in Brazil, which is like the #1 channel in Brazil. So if I went out, if I didn't wear the glasses, nobody recognized me. I put on the glasses, everybody recognized me. So I was like, oh, okay. So I started wearing the glasses.
So it started as a distraction strategy, and now it's a trademark.
Yeah, I'm supposed to get some custom made. I want to do something with Meta. We're doing the AI, the cameras, I need to talk to Mark Zuckerberg. Hey, Mark, let's go. I need some AI glasses.
Yeah, it would be nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's pretty, everyone who sees you knows who you are. I think a little bit because of the glasses, if you admit.
My glasses, but my fighters too. The Pitbull Buzz, Betrug Pitbulls, the King of Knockouts, Paulo Costa. Yeah. Mr. Secret Juice, he's making his comeback. He might be fighting Sharon Putin. The Bullet in Qatar, that's a huge fight. He's 1 or 2 fights away. He's on a Russian MMA tour. First stop was Kopylov. That card was punched. Next stop was the Bullet. And then at the end of the line would be Chimaev. Yeah. So, but Paulo's doing real well. Henry Cejudo, Triple C, greatest combat athlete of all time. He's got another fight, and he wants it underneath his belt. Let's see who that's going to be, but hopefully it's this year. I don't know who yet. I kind of want that fight with him and Moreno. I know he's called for it, but I don't know if he's going to make 25 this year. So I don't know when his fight would be, but yeah, I think that would be a good fight. Or Henry. Yeah, Henry can still compete at 135, of course.
Yeah.
I just don't know who yet because everybody's busy. So.
Yeah. Just have to say, Eric, thank you for your time. Thanks for being a guest on my show. And yeah, probably you will be a guest in the future. You got time. We'll probably connect each other.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Du bist wunderschön.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. That's what I always want to hear.
Dankeschön.
Yeah, ich muss sagen, Dankeschön. Thanks for your time, Eric. And
Yeah.
up till next time.
Next time. Thank you.
Thank you.